horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty Hi-Yo Silver, the Lone Ranger. Before this exciting adventure, a word from our sponsor, General Mills, makers of Cheerios, the oat cereal that's ready to eat, Betty Crocker Mixes, and Wheaties, the breakfast of champions. Present by special recording, The Lone Ranger. Say, kids, did you know that Betty Crocker made up her new Peanut Delight Cake Mix just for you? That's right. Betty Crocker knows how you go for the flavor of peanuts. The real fresh roasted peanuts you get at a circus. So she put that same exciting real peanut flavor in her new Betty Crocker Peanut Delight Cake Mix. It's the first cake mix ever made with butter from fresh roasted peanuts. And is it ever wonderful? A big, golden, more fun than a circus kind of cake, with a delicate flavor of fresh roasted peanuts in every bite. Everybody's happy that Betty Crocker's new Peanut Delight Cake Mix came to town, especially Mom, because it's so easy to bake. All the good things are right in the mix. You just add water and 2 fresh eggs for a perfect cake every time you bake. Cake after cake after cake. It's guaranteed perfect by Betty Crocker of General Mills, Minneapolis. Have Mom bake a Peanut Delight Cake real soon, huh? With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early western United States. Nowhere in the pages of history can one find a greater champion of justice. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again. Come on, Silver. Let's go, Victor. Hail, Silver. Hooray! Cale Haywood, who operated a one-man bank in Sage City, Montana, had the reputation of being honest, which he was. Nevertheless, the banker kept 2 kinds of books. In a big ledger which reposed on his desk, he entered accurate records of sums deposited and withdrawn. Another bulky account book, which always lay on his exchange counter, appeared to be equally innocent, but it held Haywood's protection against hold-up men. The centers of its leaves had been cut out, making it a box in which he kept a Colt 44. It was there when Tonto entered the bank. Haywood eyed the Indian suspiciously.
Redskin, you strayed into the wrong place. This is a bank, savvy?
Me savvy. Me got something to tell you.
You have? Well, it can wait. I see Mr. and Mrs. Mason coming in.
For me wait outside.
Well, howdy, Judge. Howdy, Martha. Let the engine out, will you?
Sure thing.
I haven't seen much of you young folks recently.
Martha and I have been working hard on our ranch. Trying to earn money enough to pay off the mortgage. I think we've made it.
Well, good for you.
With interest to now, how much do we owe?
Well, $5,600.
Martha, that's just what we've saved. We have it all in gold, Cale.
Well, I like to deal in gold.
Oh, could we have some coin wrappers in a bag to put the money in before we bring it into you?
Of course. I have some right here under the counter that I give to customers. Here you are.
Thank you, Mr. Haywood.
Don't mention it.
We'll have the money here on time, Cale. Come on, Martha.
Well, good day, folks.
Bye.
Goodbye, Mr. Haywood.
Say, Injun, come back in.
Me coming.
Well, we're alone now. What do you want to say?
Well, me want to warn you. 2 outlaws plan hold up here.
How do you know?
Me and friend come from town in Wyoming. We meet Indian boy. Him working livery stable. Him tell about outlaw.
Yes, go on.
Outlaws keep horses in stable. Boy sleep in hay. Them not know him there. Him wake up. Hear him talk about robbing you.
I see. All right, Injun. Thanks for telling me.
Well, me look for sheriff. Not find him. So come here.
Well, none of the town folks see much of the sheriff these days. It's near election time. He's doing a lot of campaigning out in the county. Well, thanks for coming here.
You're welcome. Me go now.
When Tonto rejoined the Lone Ranger, who had been waiting outside the town, He reported his conversation with Cale Haywood, then added,
Me not think banker believe me. Him ready to shoot while me talk.
Do you mean that he carried a holstered gun and kept a hand on it?
No, him not carry gun. Him keep it inside big book on counter.
Inside a book?
That right, Kimasabi.
Oh.
Him lift up cover of books little way. Put fingers under it. Hand open, thumb back. Same as feller fixed to draw gun from holster.
Did you actually see a gun in the book?
Him try not let me see it, but way him act make me watch close. Me see 45 muzzle.
He must have cut the centers out of the pages to make a place for it.
Well, that's so.
Well, if he's taken that precaution against bandits, it's likely that your warning will put him further on his guard.
Well, what we do now, Kimasabi?
Go on looking for Rusty Jackson and Slim Trent.
We ride hard on way here. Maybe them close now.
Badlands are also close. Outlaws wouldn't want a better place to hide while waiting a favorable chance to rob the Sage City Bank.
Plenty hard find anyone there, Kimasabi.
Hard or not, the job must be done. Now, only one stream of water flows out of the Badlands in this area. That's the Bear River.
That's so.
The outlaws need water for themselves and their horses. So we'll start by searching along the river. Here, Silver.
Here, fella.
Steady, big fella. Easy. Come on, Silver.
Scout.
On the following day, the Lone Ranger and Tonto reached the headwaters of the Bear River, which had its source in a series of springs. There they halted.
Oh, Silver. Look out. Steady, big fella. Easy a moment. Tonto, we haven't found a single hoofprint along the river.
Maybe outlaws give a slip again.
Quiet, Silver, quiet. Tonto, there are other horses in the thicket over there. Get down. Easy, steady, big fella.
The Lone Ranger and Tonto moved in for a close inspection of the animals.
Tonto, we found two of the horses the stable boy saw. This one has a scarred fetlock he told about. The other has the color formations he described.
Well, me see tracks, two other horses here. Two fellers ride 'em away.
Oh, how long ago?
Oh, tracks look 3, 4 hours old, Kimasabi.
Then the outlaws may be in Sage City right now.
What we do?
You ride into town. I'll wait here.
Meanwhile, an election had been in progress in Sage City. Taking advantage of excitement, Rusty Jackson and Slim Trent, the Texas outlaws, had ridden into town without attracting attention. They drew rein in an alley beside the bank, dismounted leisurely and stretched.
I see the banker through the side window. He's moving there. He's going to his desk. And then here we go. Turn your head away from the street. Slip your neckerchief up over your face. Keep your hat pulled down, your head low. Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. He's still at his desk. I'll go in first. Reach, fella, reach. Yes, sir, reaching. Don't shoot.
Open the safe.
You heard the order, fella. Move. Yes, I'll open it. Just give me time. We'll give you 1 minute.
Kneeling before the safe, which stood close to the counter, the banker unlocked and opened it. For the moment, he had the use of his hands and was hidden from Rusty's sight by the counter. As Slim peered into the safe, Haywood partly straightened himself and attempted to slip the 6-gun from its hiding place in the ledger. He had the cover partly open when Rusty saw the movement and caught a glimpse of the gun. The outlaw sprang to the counter.
No, you don't. Is he dead? Right. Why'd you do it? Tried to sneak out a 6-gun. I don't see any. It's inside that big book. Now, what's in the safe? An open sack of wrapped gold money. Nice wrapping. Let's get out of here. That shot will rouse the town. Yeah, I'm bringing it.
Great as was the election day hubbub in Sage City, the shot in the bank had been heard by several businessmen. Doc Lewis, the county coroner, looked out of the window of his office on the 2nd floor of a nearby building, saw the masked man, and snatched up a Sharp's rifle, which he had kept handy for just such an occasion. Just as the fleeing outlaws rounded the corner into the alley, the doctor fired. The shot staggered Slim.
I'm hit. Here, give me the sack. Here, take it. All right, keep going. I'll cover you.
firing into the window from which the doctor had shot. Rusty followed Slim into the alley. There they found momentary security. Rusty helped his partner into the saddle, shoved a sack of money into one of his own saddlebags, and mounted. At the same moment, the bell on the town hall began to ring.
Slim, head your horse away from the street. Lead him, Rusty. I'll have to hold of the saddle. All right, I get the reins. Come on, get up, come on, get up.
As the outlaws fled down the alley, Sheriff Marlin, who had previously been engaged in safeguarding his own interests at the voting place, led a sortie of citizens to the alley's mouth.
They're getting away. Lead won't stop them that far away. Bill, round up a posse while I see what happened in the bank. Get your horses,
Several hours after the bank robbery, Judd Mason sat at a table in his ranch house on Bear River.
Listen, look. Somebody's coming.
Who stopped right outside the door?
Quick. Hide the money bag under the couch while I get my gun and see who it is.
All right. I'll have it out of sight in no time. There. It can't be seen.
Oh, yeah.
What do you want?
Let me bring in a wounded man. He was shot by Indians.
Just a moment.
Oh, put your gun away, mister. Can't see my partner's dead off.
Yes. Judd, put it away and help him inside with the poor fellow.
Sure.
Here, I'll give you a hand.
All right, I control him. Just tell me where to put him.
Over there on the couch. But let him down gently.
I'm trying to. Hey,
I'd better lock the door again.
what do you think about him, man?
Why, I'm afraid he's dying. But I'll do all I can for him.
Where'd the Indians attack you, stranger?
Down by the Bear River Bridge. There were 5 or 6 of them, and they looked like renegade Sioux. My horse is tuckered, or I'd ride on to Fort Layton and tell the soldiers.
Turn both your horses into my corral and take my roan mare. She's fast. Tell the colonel to send the post surgeon here to the Judd Mason range.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Mason. You'll never regret what you're doing. So long, partner.
We'll continue our Lone Ranger adventure in just a moment.
When boys line up to run a race, Galloping Gordon sets the pace. He comes in first because he knows he's got go power from Cheerios. Yes, he's got go power. There he goes. He's feeling his Cheerios, Cheerios, Cheerios.
And so will you, once you're eating Cheerios every breakfast. You'll say the Cheerios taste simply wonderful, too. They're already cooked, shaped like little round O's, and just full of good toasted oat flavor. Pour out a big bowlful, add fresh milk, and pitch in. You can almost feel the go power. For a Cheerios breakfast is one of the finest ways you can get the vitamins, proteins, and minerals your body needs. A bowl of Cheerios and milk really starts your day right. Helps give you the good red blood, strong bones, and muscles. Go power, you'll get it from Cheerios. Try it, and folks will say,
He's feeling his Cheerios.
Now to continue. The murderous bank robber, Rusty Jackson, had left his wounded partner at Judd Mason's ranch house. Then he continued his flight with a bag of money, using a horse furnished by the unsuspecting rancher. A half hour later, a furious storm broke over the Bear River Valley, hastening the fall of night. As thunder shook the house and wind-driven rain lashed the windows, the wounded outlaw drew a last labored breath. Covering his face with a blanket, Martha turned to Judd, who had been standing by with a lamp.
I wonder who they are.
The excitement, I forgot to ask the other fellow who they were or where they came from.
More horsemen, maybe the soldiers.
No, they couldn't get here so soon. Maybe the Indians are coming. Stand back from the window.
They're white men. They have lanterns. Now they've stopped. One lantern is going toward the corral. The others are coming this way.
A few moments later, a fist thudded on the door.
Who's out there? Come in there.
With the sheriff in the lead, a half-dozen men hurried in out of the storm, stamping muddy boots on the threshold and shaking water from sodden hats.
And I don't suppose you heard of the bank robbery. Bank robbery? Where? This afternoon, 2 bandits killed Haywood and carried off a sack of gold pieces.
Poor Mr. Hayward.
Doc Lewis here plugged one of the varmints before they got away.
Done shooting, I did.
We were close onto them when the storm broke and washed out their trail. At that time, they were headed straight for this place. I figured maybe you'd seen them. Maybe.
Judge, who's that on the couch?
A dead man, Doc. He was dying when another fella brought him here. He said they'd been bushwhacked by redskins.
I'm uncovering him. There. Well, I'll be cow-caked.
You know him, Doc?
I'll swear he's the varmint I plugged at the bank, even if he did have a mask on then.
Ben, search this house.
A few minutes later, the posse men who had been searching the house reported that they had found no one hiding in it.
I didn't think you would, fellas. There wasn't any other outlaw except Jud Mason himself. Why, you...
Look here, Sheriff. I was going through the dead polecat's clothes and happened to look under the couch. This is what I found.
A money sack with Cale Haywood's name on it. I'm arresting you for bank robbery and murder.
No, no.
I'll have to take you too, Mrs. Mason. You're a material witness. And I may charge you with being an accessory.
I'll hold an inquest tonight right in Cale Haywood's bank.
Meanwhile, Rusty Jackson, riding furiously through the storm, had reached the source of the Bear River. Possessed of the cunning of a wild animal which always circles its den before entering, he dismounted some distance from the camp and scouted through the thicket. With the noise of the storm dinning in his ears, the Lone Ranger, who was crouched under the overhanging rock, failed to hear the outlaw's approach. Rusty was equally ignorant of the masked man's presence. Only a few feet separated the two when a lurid flash of lightning revealed each to the other. A fraction of a second later, total darkness engulfed them again. The Lone Ranger sprang, and the outlaw collided with him. Then they were locked in a struggle as fierce as the war of elements which raged around them.
I have you now.
It's again. No, I take this. I took it.
Another bolt of lightning lanced into the nearby hills, giving the Lone Ranger just time enough to place the position of his adversary's head. Jerking his right arm free, the masked man put all the force he could summon into a piston-like punch to the jaw.
Take it.
The outlaw went limp with a groan. After disarming the stunned man and making sure that he was incapable of moving temporarily, the Lone Ranger lit a lantern he had found among the camp supplies. Its light enabled him to search and study the crook, as well as a saddlebag he had dropped at the start of the fight. The storm was beginning to subside when the outlaw stirred and sat up.
Stay just where you are, Rusty Jackson.
You know me.
I read your description often enough in Texas. I think my friend Tonto is coming.
Tonto?
Does the name mean something to you?
It's funny. The name of an agent who rides with a masked man called the Lone Ranger. Oh, now I know who you are.
Hold, fella. Hold. You need help, Kemosabe?
No, Tonto. Tell me, what happened in Sage City?
Outlaws hold up bank, kill banker. One gets shot. Other one leave him at Jud Mason Ranch. Him die. Now Sheriff think Mason is other outlaw. Him rest Mason and wife.
We have the other outlaw here.
We'll try and prove it. Coroner holding meeting in bank tonight.
Then we'll go there. Take this saddlebag and guard the prisoner while I call Silver and round up the other horses.
Later that night, the coroner's inquest was in session at the scene of the crime.
You gents on the jury have seen all the evidence and heard all the testimony. What's your verdict?
Hey, look, a masked man.
Steady, all of you. Keep your hands where they are.
What do you want here?
Justice. Tonto, bring in the other outlaw.
Him coming.
Sheriff. Doc. There's a fellow who's at our house. He's the dead cook's partner.
It's true.
I never saw that man and woman before. I've never been in Sage City nor in this bank. I'm just a prospector. This masked man and Indian caught and robbed of his money.
Here in man's saddlebag is money, Sheriff.
It's the loot from the bank robbery. The prisoner had it in his possession when captured. He's Rusty Jackson, a notorious Texas bad man. I believe that he's partnering the holdup with Slim Trent.
Never heard of him. Anyhow, the money in this saddlebag is loose. There's not a thing to show that it came from this bank. We've got the real loot here, all wrapped up in Haywood's paper and in his bag.
Jackson had plenty of time to dispose of coin wrappers in a sack.
Bosh.
Sheriff, do you refuse to take Rusty Jackson into custody?
I don't aim to arrest him on your say-so. That's final.
Steady, Sheriff. Don't force us to use violence. But Jackson is going to hang. Here or in Texas.
At that instant, Rusty Jackson sprang toward the ledger, flung back the cover, and snaked out Cale Haywood's secret six-gun. The sheriff saw him and yelled a warning.
Watch out, masked man!
But the Lone Ranger had been prepared for just such an eventuality. As the outlaw whirled and cocked the weapon, the masked man swung his right-hand gun across his extended left arm and fired. The silver slug smashed into the killer's shoulder, spinning him back against the counter as Haywood's gun dropped to the floor.
Mr. Coroner, There's your case.
Thanks. I see it. That varmint knew that there was a gun inside the ledger. That's something that Cale Harold kept secret. So he's the other outlaw. Mister, I apologize.
I suggest that you offer your apologies to Mr. and Mrs. Mason.
Folks, I'm mighty sorry about all this. I made a mighty bad mistake, but it was an honest mistake. We understand, Sheriff. You're free to go home. And, of course, you'll get your money back.
Judd, isn't that wonderful?
Sheriff, I can put you in touch with a stable boy who heard Jackson and his partner plan the robbery. He can identify them and their horses.
With his testimony and that of Mr. and Mrs. Mason, we should be able to convict the coyote.
There should be some record here in the bank showing the amount of cash which Haywood had on hand the morning of the robbery. It may tally with the amount in the saddlebag, for I doubt that Jackson disposed of any.
That's so. We'll make a strong case against him.
Sheriff, the vote has been counted. You're reelected.
Congratulate you, Sheriff. Come on, Tonto. Adios, friend.
Adios. Rusty Jackson, I wonder how the masked man managed to catch him.
You can stop wondering. He's a Lone Ranger.
Feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated is produced by Kendall Campbell Muir Incorporated. The part of the Lone Ranger is played by Brace Beamer. Your announcer, Fred Foy. Listen to the Lone Ranger, brought to you by special recording Mondays through Fridays at this same time.
You've been listening to the OTR Gold Network. Find more classic radio at otrgold.com.